I gotcha. I'm up front this time. You can't win. This time I got the jump on you. Because every time a new Sonic game comes out, I usually, about a week after it's released, I start getting a bunch of messages. People are like, hey, you're gonna review insert name of Sonic game here. But not this time. This time I only got 2, and that was before it was released, and I'm reviewing it right away. Sonic Lost World. Let's rock!
In your mind.
But of course, before I get into the game, I have to answer another question, because for some reason, a lot of people seem to really give a crap about what the professional review sites have been saying about the game. And I really don't know why, because the whole professional review site controversy has just gotten a little ridiculous. Am I the only one who really just does not care what these people think anymore? Like honestly. For one, let's consider the fact that it's not IGN reviewing the game, it's a reviewer they hired to write a review for said game. That's how they always work. And, you know, there's a lot of corporate bias involved. Why do you care what these people think? But yes, a lot of the review sites, IGN specifically, have given Lost World a really low score, almost unfairly so. And you might be saying, well, does that mean that they're right? No, it actually means that they're wrong. Not the point, though. The point is that people got pissed about this. And, you know, the funny part is that a lot of people got pissed before they had even played the game. They could have been very right. They could have been completely correct. I don't know why people just suddenly assume that they were wrong from the get-go, because, I mean, they are. But that's not the point, is that they could have been right. The only thing that really bothered me about IGN's review specifically is that they've been pretty positive towards Sonic games recently. And in fact, other than myself, they are like the only people on the planet to give free riders a fair shake. So I'm just kind of confused as to why all of a sudden they're so hostile towards Sonic. Did Sega stop paying your bill or something? So let's get back to Sonic Lost World, which is where we really want to go, you know, with this, because what you want is my opinion, don't you? That's why you're watching this. You want to know what I think of the game. After all, I'm a Sonic fan. I'm a big fan of the series. I've always loved it since I was a little kid, and this is the next big game. First game on the Wii U. How is it? Oh, it's pretty good. And you wanted to be more detailed. Okay, fine, let's go into it. The game is, you know what, I'm actually going to warn you right now. It is very, very different. I mean, it's still familiar, but it's, from what we've been getting for Modern Sonic, it's quite different. Surprisingly so. I actually did not anticipate how drastically they were going to shift their focus here. Because before, a lot of the Modern Sonic stages, whether it be in Generations or even in Colors, or God Help You Unleashed, it was more about speed than anything, which I was fine with. I liked the speedy stages. I liked the sense of, you know, extreme speed that the levels gave. I liked running really fast as Sonic, you know, and the platforming was still there, so it wasn't like that was a problem. But here, I don't know whether people were complaining too much about the speed stages or what, but all of a sudden there's a huge focus on platforming, where it's less about running fast all the time, and more about, you know, playing the platforming segments of the game. And in here, speed is more of a reward for skillful play, rather than the main focus. And I say that because I don't really consider the new platforming focus a bad thing. There's nothing really wrong with it, and in fact, they did fix a problem I had with the platforming in the past. See, the other games, with the way the engine was made, when it came to Modern Sonic Unleashed, is that the platforming really didn't work that well. It was very, very stiff, because the game just wanted you to go fast. Whereas here, they've retooled the controls, so it's much easier to control Sonic. level design is actually quite good. And this is another complaint I keep hearing, and everyone keeps bringing this up. Even IGN brought this up. And I'm really getting sick of it at this point, because, you know what? It's a dumb point, because it's not even true, as far as I'm concerned. People keep saying this game rips off Super Mario Galaxy, which is horseshit, to begin with. I mean, there are some elements that are similar, yes, but if we really want to go down this road, and we can do that, because you're not going to win on this one, I will kindly point out that there was a stage in Sonic Adventure 2 that offered this same planetoid gravity system. I believe it was a Rouge stage, if memory serves, one of the hunting levels. Yeah, it had the same type of thing going on. I mean, yeah, the level wasn't great. It was probably one of the weaker stages in Sonic Adventure 2, and the system wasn't, you know, as streamlined as it is in Galaxy or in Lost World. But my point is that saying that the planetoid thing was introduced by Galaxy is straight up wrong. It's nothing new. And to say that Lost Worlds, oh, they just ripped this off. Yeah, that's exactly what Sega did. You know, even that's not even argue about. Let's assume that's true for a second. Let's assume that Sega saw Mario Galaxy and said, we want to do this exact same thing. Which isn't what they did at all. The game's not even really like Galaxy other than the planetoid thing. But let's assume they did that. Is that such a bad thing? Wasn't Super Mario Galaxy a good game? You know, if memory serves, there are worse things to rip off. If you're gonna copy anything, yeah, okay, copy an element from a good platformer. I really don't see where the complaints are coming from. And again, I can't stress this enough, it's not really that similar to Galaxy at all, other than the planetoid thing, but my point is that, assuming that's even true, what's the problem with that? And again, the main core game mechanics are really nothing like Galaxy, and in fact, believe it or not, this is a lot closer to a classic-style Sonic game than I had anticipated. It just feels more like I'm playing an old-school Sonic game, particularly on 2D stages, and I think it's because they actually worked out the controls to where they work closer to how they worked back then, rather than in modern Sonic, which is a nice blend of the two. Obviously, you still got moves like the homing attack implemented here, but there's also a new kick maneuver which you can use in place of the homing attack to accelerate enemies forward, which is actually quite interesting. And there's certain enemy types that you actually have to beat this way because they'll actually counter a homing attack, which does change up how you approach combat in this game. In addition, there's also a double jump, which I was a little intrigued by, and it does help enhance the platforming of the game. On top of that, for some reason, there are wisps in this game. And a lot of you are probably going to think I'm going to complain about this, but actually I'm not. Because, well, they showed a lot of restraint when it came to the wisps. They're just kind of there. There's no real plot explanation for their presence, which, you know, whatever. But here they serve the function that they should have served in the first place. Because if you remember, my big complaint with Colors, and the main reason I really just did not like that game, was that the wisps just took over the whole thing, and it became all about them and their power-ups, rather than just platforming in a typical Sonic game. Here, the wisps are throttled way back to where I'm pretty sure some levels don't even have them at all. And levels that do, well, rarely you need to do them. There's multiple paths to experience here, and you can bypass them if you wish, which is exactly what they should be. They're optional. They're power-ups. They're things you can do, but you don't necessarily have to if you don't wish to. I like this. This is good. And admittedly, I have been sort of dwelling on this, but I haven't really gone over the writing yet, have I? The writing's actually fairly good. It reminds me a little bit of Colors in a way. It's, you know, not serious, but it's funny enough, and it gets the job done. My only real complaint with this is that, especially at the end of the game, everything just feels really anticlimactic, and nothing really amazing happens. Especially considering the final boss is an absolute cakewalk, and considering the final few levels are actually pretty tough, the fact that the boss is so easy is a little disappointing. And that just sounds weird coming from me. I almost never complain about a game being too easy, but I don't think you understand. I would rather there have not been a final boss at this point, because it just wasn't much of a fight at all. I was just thoroughly disappointed by it, because the level design in the game is actually really good. and it offers a nice little scale of difficulty with a lot of variety within the levels. The boss fights in general don't seem to have the same thing. Some of them are kind of tough, but most of them just don't even feel climactic. They barely feel like boss fights. It's not a matter of them being too easy. It's a matter of, I feel like I'm fighting just really tough enemies and not bosses, you know. You remember the old Sonic games when Eggman would show up? And it was just this, you know, it was really epic and shit. And here, that's not here at all. Just at all. It's just not. And that's actually one of the negatives about the game. In addition, I mentioned difficulty. To be perfectly frank, sometimes this game can get a little goddamn ridiculous with what they expect you to do. The platforming gets very challenging towards the end, and you might be, you know, saying, isn't that a good thing? Well, in a way, yeah, it's not really a complaint, but it's definitely something to mention. Speaking of things to mention, I haven't really talked about the graphics or the music, have I? The game is gorgeous at the end of the day. Really nothing. There's nothing about this game that I thought looked bad. Everything looks great. I don't know why there's a food level. Again. There's giant pancakes in the background. Why does this place exist? Who made it? And why? What spot? No! Why does... Where on this... What? No, God damn it! And the sound, which, while the voice acting's acceptable, the music, it's not bad at all. I think the problem I have with it, and I had a similar issue with Colors music, is that it's just not memorable for me. There's nothing here that really stuck out, and I was like, wow, this is a really great track. I would like to listen to this. That never happened, at all. I don't really know what's going on. It kind of reminds me of Sonic Unleashed music, although at least Sonic Unleashed had Holoska, which was really good. But here, I can't think of a single level that had a unique track that just stuck out for me. Again, the music's not bad at all. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's not as great and memorable as previous games had. Now, other complaints. There are a few that I have. For one, there's some padding here, because the game is rather short, but, there's one... See, they want you to get the little animals, the flickies, you know, those little animals. They want you to rescue them, that's great. But the problem is, in order to reveal some of the levels, you have to get a certain amount of them, which basically forces you to backtrack and go through levels again, and I fucking hate that. However, I did figure out that the best way to handle this is actually to do some of the bonus levels, the circuses, which have little mini-games, which work quite well, and these will actually get you a ton of flickies very quickly. So, the padding here isn't, you know, anywhere close to the scale that Sonic Unleashed had with those fucking medals, but it is something that did bother me. Just the fact that they felt the need to pad it at all is a problem. Why don't you, I don't know, make the game a little longer, you know, if that's an issue. I mean, the game's not, not drastically short, but it isn't, it isn't, the longest game in the world. And, I mean, there are some bonus stages, which some of them are quite good. I enjoy the one where you get to fly the tornado. This was a good one. But I just felt like the game, it left me wanting more, I think is the best way to put it. But, there is a lot of variety within the game. The Deadly Six, the characters, they're very well written and unique. A lot of them I actually found quite humorous. I mean, there's a lot to like about this game. I'm not saying it's bad at all. I'm just saying that there's a few things about it. It's not like as, shall we say, as perfect as Generations was. I mean, Generations, I had almost nothing bad to say about it. That game fucking rocked. This is good. It's great. It's another good Sonic game. I'm glad. And I like the changes Sega made. And the new direction it's bold. It's it's a step in a different light. It's a different kind of game because of it. But it's still really good, which I can respect out of Sega, that they were able to slow Sonic down, make him more of a platformer, and it still works. But there's one thing about that does bother me. You have to hold down the right trigger to run. Why? Because see, if you just hold the analog stick forward, he just walks, right? To run, like Sonic normally would, you have to hold down the right trigger, and I guess my issue with this is, 1, why? 2, no seriously, why? And 3, I preferred it in the older games, when Sonic would build momentum over time, and get up to a run. I just don't understand why run is a command and not something that's simply built into his, momentum process. It would have been a much better way to go about it, in my opinion. And that is actually my final major complaint with the game, though. Other than that, the game is a ton of fun, and this is a case of completely ignoring what most professional sites are saying about the game. If anything, they seem to be bitching about the fact that it's different, and you know what? There's nothing really wrong with that. It's a lot better than Colors, in my opinion. Of course, I did not like Colors at all. And you know what? It's not as good as Generations, but it's up there. It's another good Sonic game, and thank goodness it's another good game for the Wii U, because God knows the Wii U needs games right now. But at the end of the day, it's a great game, and you should really give it a try, especially if you're a Sonic fan. So with that, till next time, this is Darkness, and I bid you all a fond farewell. Woohoo!